and thank you so much for joining me for Daily Spark with Dr. Angela. I am your host, Dr. Angela Butchester. You guys know what I like to do on my show. I want to enlighten you. I want to inspire you. I want to empower you to become your best self. Now, Scripture reminds us that the tongue is a small thing that makes grand speeches, but a tiny spark can set a great forest on fire. And today, we want to get you fired up about my guest. I will be spending time today with Oparigwe Chiwuoke today on his book, Capitalizing on Your Stress, Living a Balanced Life in a Saturated World. So you know what I'm going to tell you to do. Go on, get comfy, get cozy, get your coffee or get your tea, because we are about to get started. Hello, hello. Thank you so much for being a guest on the show today.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, before we get started, the custom around here is that we always give our guests an opportunity to introduce themselves to perhaps those few folks out there that are unfamiliar with you and your work. So if you can, please, can you not only, and I apologize for mispronouncing your name there, if you could please remind us not only of who you are and a little bit about yourself, but please make sure that our listeners know how to properly pronounce your name.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. My name is Oparigwe Prince Chiwuoke. I am from Nigeria. I live in the UK. I live in East London, United Kingdom. I wrote my book while I was living in Italy. I lived in Italy for a couple of years before my family and I moved over to the UK. Thank you.
Absolutely. Now, being an author, is that something that you have always wanted to do, or did you find that life presented the opportunity?
Thank you very much. It has always been my desire, right from my secondary school days, to be an author, to write about experiences about life, to let people learn. That's why I chose to be an author. Thank you.
Now, the title of your book, Capitalizing on Your Stress, Living a Balanced Life in a Saturated World. Why was this the appropriate name for this particular work of yours?
Yeah. I chose this particular title, Capitalizing on Your Stress, Living a Balanced Life, based on the fact that I found out in life that almost everybody in life, whether you're responsible or you're irresponsible, in some point in your life, you come across stress. Everyone come across stress in their lifetime. And most of us allow this stress to overwhelm us. When stress overwhelms us, what follows it is we go into depression, we go into anxiety, we go into all those psychological things, and they are not good for our health. And that's why I came up with that title, that if you, instead of allowing stress to take you down, you can capitalize on it to build up. Thank you.
It's really interesting, and I definitely understand what you mean. It's like many times when I talk about being a successful entrepreneur, a successful solopreneur, that when I say it's okay to have failures, or you seek failure as much as you seek success. Many times people are like, what are you talking about, Dr. Angela? But it is just taking that thing that happens and not using it towards good, as opposed to allowing it to make you sad or depressed or keep you down or keep you stuck, but instead using that as the catalyst, as the energy to keep moving forward. So I love your idea there. Now, would you say that your book is appropriate for someone as young as high school, or should they be college age and older?
Yeah, thank you for that. The target audience of my book is of any age, any college student, young adults, anyone that can reason like a human being deserves this book. These are my target audience, because, like I said, everyone one time or the other go through stress.
Now, when it comes to the proper way in which to read your book, many authors will suggest that we read it from cover to cover, meaning literally page after page. Others will present it in a way that we should read chapter 1 or section 1 before we move on to chapter or section 2. There's information that precedes the next, and you need to have a good grasp of that. Others even do their book more like a devotional, where, you read 3 or 4 pages, you put it down, digest that information, and then you move on. Is there a best way to really utilize or to read your book, or is it reader's choice?
I will have to leave it to the choice of the reader, but on my personal advice is, when you pick it up, just try and finish it and try to absorb it. I wouldn't advise it to be read only once. You can read it as many times as you want. And that's why I deliberately compressed it to make it unputdownable, in the sense that it is not voluminous. So that when you pick it up, before you know it, you finish it. You take your time to absorb it. You might read it again after 1 week again. After another week, you pick it up again. It will become fresh again to you. The meaning will come alive again to you.
I like that. I like that. Now, for many of the authors that I have an opportunity to talk to, they will say that there was a nudge or an inspiration. There was a moment before they actually penned the book or published the book that a friend or loved one said, you write amazing stories, or this is too good to keep to yourself. You really need to put this out there for the world. Did you have such a nudge? I've even had some authors that say that God almost kind of like woke them up, and said, write this book. Did you have an experience like that?
Yes, you're very right. I got the inspiration about this book in my years in Italy. I had a lot of Italian friends. I unwittingly found out that anytime any of them, especially my colleagues at work, my friends in the church, anywhere I am, anytime they are going through stress, they are going through problems, they are going through difficulties, they always see me calm, they always see me composed, they always see a smile on my face. And most of the time we are going through the same circumstances, but they always see me very calm and calculated. They always approach me. How are you able to control yourself? How are you able to cope? How are you able to go through these circumstances of life? How are yet you maintain your mental balance? What is the secret? I'll sit them down, I'll educate them. I find out that they get released. The next couple of times, I'll see them, they come to me with gratitude, saying, thank you so much. I tried what you said, it worked out. After a time, some of them came to me, why not put your experience in black and white? Why not put it on paper so that other people across beyond you can benefit from this? This was what inspired me.
I like that answer. And I like how you said it. Why not just put it out there in black and white? And isn't that exactly how the pages, I understood that to mean, put it on the page, make it black and white, but also the way that we understand that term or that phrase, make it clear. Just put it out there in black and white so that there's no confusion and that we can follow along with what you're saying. I love that answer. Now, when it comes to making sure that people understand what one of your objections are for writing the book, is there any particular message or theme or nugget of wisdom, if you will, that you want to make sure that every reader gleans this from your book? What is that one nugget of information?
Yeah, the main nugget of information I have in the book is to encourage people to live a stress-free, happy life. It does not matter what the economy is telling you. It does not matter what your pocket is telling you. It does not matter what your relationship is telling you. It does not matter what the politics of your country is telling you. It does not matter what is around you. What matters, first of all, is for you as a person to live a balanced life. Be able to balance these things and afford to put a happy smile on your face.
Now, I know that when I talk about balance, I am talking about making sure that all aspects of your life in general, or one's life in general, is where it needs to be. The majority of people work, the majority of people that listen into the show, they may have children or grandchildren. They're not only running their households, but they're running a business, or they're employed in some way. So there's all these things that they are doing. When you're talking about a balanced life, are you two talking about making sure that all of the things we do are harmonious in our lives, that one thing isn't taking over from another?
When I talk about living a balanced life, I'm not trying to pretend that everything is going to be rosy. No, far from that. I'm not saying things are going to be easy as we see in the movies, fairy tales and stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying that in the midst of all these troubles, in the midst of all these problems, remember that thinking about them will not solve them. Meditating so much about those problems will not give you answer to that. Rather, it could give you migraine while you're thinking about this problem. You could get migraine, and that's an added problem to you. Why not just take it one step at a time? What I believe in life is what I can do at any point in time, I can do it. What I cannot handle, I will let it go. It does not matter. And that is the philosophy I'm trying to bring in here. Because what you cannot handle and you're thinking and thinking and thinking about it does not solve the problem. It gives you more problem, and that is where you get stressed. And that is where you could fall sick. I don't like people getting to old age. You're 70, you're 80. How happy, how healthy are you at that age? How healthy are you? I want to be 100 and feel like 50 because I'm living a stressless life.
Oh, I like it. I like it. Well, it is time for us to go to break, and what a great place to pause here for a moment while we take all of that in. If you will, please, can you remind everyone what is the title of your book, where can we get a copy, and how do we stay in contact with you?
Thank you. The title of my book again is Capitalizing on Your Stress, Living a Balanced Life. in a stress-saturated world. You can get my book from Amazon or from anywhere books are sold. You can also get my book from my publisher, Bookstray.
Alrighty, everyone. Now you know where you can get a copy of the book. We'll be back right after this. And we are back. Thank you so much for joining me for a Daily Spark with Dr. Angela. Now, my next question for you is, what advice do you have for people that seem to find themselves always in a stressful situation?
My advice for people to live a stress life situation is, first, don't carry more than you can bear. Have the courage to say no when you need to say no. You don't have to try to satisfy everybody to be in everybody's good book. Whether you satisfy them or not, you're going to have people that don't like, people that don't want to celebrate you. Always be in the midst of people that celebrate you, people that know your worth. There is no use trying to satisfy everybody. Nobody does that and get away with it. Always try to make yourself happy. Always be with your family. Always remember your family. Always celebrate them. Remember to be an answer in your time, not a question. Thank you.
Oh, I love those nuggets that you just left there. Oh my goodness, that is so good. And you know, I cannot echo the sentiment of your entire answer. But one of the things I think that our young people especially need to be reminded of is, and you said it, is that not everyone is going to celebrate you. Not everyone's going to be on the same page with you. We used to call those folks haters. You know, we're going to have haters in our lives, but that's okay to keep moving forward with what God has placed on our hearts and what God has tasked us to do. Oh, I love your answer so much. Thank you for that beautiful reminder there. Now, for some folks, they may be saying, well, I like what you are saying, but I'm looking for books that are relevant to the time. Now, I'm able to see how this book is relevant to the times, but I want to ask you, and I try to give as many authors as I can an opportunity to answer that question. So again, what do you think makes your book current, or what makes your book relevant to what's going on in the world today?
Thank you for that question, Dr. Angela. I want to tell you that my book surpasses all generations. It goes from one generation to the next. If you date back from the creation of the world, when God created man in the Garden of Eden and gave him the command to go and have dominion over everything. That was when man did not know that he had to also contend with stress. Because by having dominion, by trying to take a control of your environment, stress comes into play. So from generation to generation, like I said, so long as you are a human being and you want to be responsible in your generation, you will have to contend with stress, no matter the generation you are in. And that is why you need this book.
And you are so right. It does not matter where you are born or when you were or are born. There are going to be stresses in the world. You are so right. I think about many times we look at the movies of past generations, and we think, you know, those of us born now, we look back at those movies and say, oh my goodness, they had it so easy. But if you had asked them in that moment, was it so easy, they would probably say, of course not. That they were dealing with their own difficulties and their own struggles. So you are so right there. Now, I want to kind of shift gears just a little bit and ask you some process questions. One of the biggest groups that we have that tune in are our aspiring authors out there, and I'm so happy that they listen in and get advice from a seasoned or more experienced author like yourself. So I want to shift gears and ask you some questions along that thing. The first is, and I ask this of all of my guests, and that is the decision of how you choose to publish your book. Everyone has to determine if they will self-publish, if they will use professional services in some way, or if they will pitch their book to a well-known publishing house. Which way did you determine was best for you?
Thank you for that question. When I finished writing my book, I asked myself, am I going to publish this book myself? I said, I wrote this book myself, but I might not be good in publishing it and advertising it and the rest. I need to look for an expert that is going to help me push it to the market and let people know about it. There is something called division of labor. You might be good here, might not be good there. So I said I need to get professionals to publish my book. And I went in search, and that's how I got Book Trail. And I want to thank Book Trail for what they are doing and for even introducing me to Dr. Angela. Thank you.
Absolutely. I am glad that they suggested that you come on the show as well. That is beautiful. One of the things that, and I've shared this before, that I pray for every day is not only will amazing people be placed along my path, but that I will be placed along the path of others, and that I will have that type of role or be able to assist someone else the same way that someone else will assist me, because we're all trying to move forward and do this wonderful thing that God has placed us on earth to do. So I'm so glad that we were able to make this connection. Your show right there. Now, for many folks, when we talk about success, there is a certain picture that comes to mind. Many times it's a very large house, or it's a luxury car, or it's fancy jewelry, or there's some material thing that comes along with that. But when I talk to authors about what literary success looks like, many times the answer is totally and completely different. It's not about the money. It's more about purpose. So let me ask you, I'm not trying to lead you in any direction, but what do you believe that literary success is, or what does literary success look like to you?
Yeah, Dr. Angela, thank you so much. You're really in-depth in your interviews. I appreciate this moment. I see a successful person not about the car you drive, not about the yacht you own, not about the castle you live in. I don't see those as success. I look at the individual person. Somebody could be driving Lamborghini, but is dying inside. That is not a successful person. That's not my definition of a successful person. My definition of a successful person is the person that can somehow manage to put food on the table for his family and him, manage to pay his bills without going and borrowing, manage to live a contented life, walking on the streets without looking behind his shoulder if somebody is coming, if his debtors are coming, or if somebody is coming to kill him for the little he has. That's a successful person. That is my definition of a successful person. Somebody that lives day by day in a happy way. Somebody that has that has connection with his creator is a successful person.
Oh, I like that answer. And you are so right. And we have an international audience that listens to this. You know, of course, I love my audience here in the U.S. that listens on the radio. But we have so many people that listen internationally once it's on the streaming platforms. And you are so right. We never know what's going on in a particular country, in someone's culture, and what something means to one group doesn't always mean the same to another. But one thing that you mentioned is we are all the same, and that is true. We all want to love our families and take care of our families and make sure that we're all, safe and well, and that we have the means to do what we want to do. And you are so right there. And a house filled with love, and one that knows about God is one that is a home to live. And I love that answer. Now, the last question that I have for you, because we have about a minute left in the show, and that is, if there is any advice that you could give to our young people out there to kind of keep them motivated to move forward and to stay positive, what would that piece of advice be?
Thank you. The advice I'll give to our youth now is, in this generation, unfortunately, because people most times don't celebrate hard work, they just want to know that you've made it. They don't care how you made it. And that has kind of promoted vices. But pardon me if I say I'm still of the old school that believe in out of the sweat of your brow will you eat. I advise the youth to be content with what they have, to always be up and doing, to go out there and make use of their hands, their feet, the head God has given to them, and make life worthwhile, worth living for themselves. They can be blessings to one another. They can be blessings in their generation and in their community.
Well, Prince, thank you so much for spending time with me here on Daily Spark with Dr. Angela. I have enjoyed my time with you here today, and I'm sure our listeners have as well. But before I let you go, can you remind everyone, please, what is the title of your book? Where can we get a copy? And, of course, how do we stay in contact with you?
Thank you. The title of my book, once again, is Capitalizing on Your Stress. And you can get this book from Amazon, or from where books are sold, or from my book agency, Booktrade. You can get in touch with me on Twitter.
Alrighty, everyone. Now you know where you can get a copy of the book. I hope, as always, that we have enlightened, inspired, and empowered you. And may the Lord continue to shine His face upon you. May you receive His grace and His mercy in all that you do. Until next time, everyone, remember that you are blessed in the Lord. Have a great day, everyone.